Um, I don't know. What is life? I have no idea what's going on in my life. I was going to be like, oh, things are good, things are bad. I don't know. All I know is the Mets. My whole life right now is the Mets. Um, they're doing pretty good. So, I guess that means I'm doing pretty good. Okay. Kate, I'm so sorry you're dealing with migraines. They sound so bad, and I totally understand that, like, the brain fog that comes from them means everything's a little less coherent. And you know what? Makes sense. I'm sorry that it's that bad, but I hope you don't have another one soon so you can recover from the ones you just had. The vertical and horizontal thing with TikTok and YouTube, totally true. I've noticed that. Like, even creators who are like Gen Z who are posting to YouTube on purpose still sometimes do vertical because that's just like the vibe of Gen Z, which is super interesting and also makes us old because it's like, of course horizontal makes sense to us because that was our era. I mean, it's not our era, but we're not the young people anymore. It's still funny to think that, like, we're not the young people anymore. It's like, okay, we're not that old. The points thing, so it really depends how much I commit to it. Also, it depends where. Because, like, if we were to meet, I am going to make something up. If we were to meet in Portland, if you were a little afraid to fly because of aerosols and whatever else, it would not be hard to get a round trip from Calgary and a round trip from San Francisco. I could probably do that for a combined like 80 to 100,000 points, and that won't be hard. I'm like close to that right now. So theoretically that gets 3 of us together. That's like very low effort. Getting Nella here to theoretically Portland could be a little bit harder because that's international, but like if she's willing to do a layover and is willing to fly economy, I could probably do that for like 60,000, which this is an if I commit to it thing because it requires opening a credit card and meeting the minimum spend. I could probably do that by like middle of next year easy. Like, this is not a 10-year plan. This is like, depending on where we meet, it won't be that much. If we wanted to do something in Europe that would require 3 round trip flights that are international, that would take longer. Also, if we wanted to meet somewhere in the US that wasn't Portland and you were comfortable to fly, just do that math, but add another like 40,000. Really, it doesn't even have to be that much, because it's like, if we meet somewhere that has a bazillion flights a day, yours are a little harder because we'd have to find somewhere direct from Eugene, or you'd have to be willing to do a layover. But, like, if we met in, I don't know, Chicago or something, Calgary, San Francisco, and Eugene, or Eugene plus a connection probably. Like, it wouldn't be a lot to get to Chicago. For 3 round trips, that might be 100,000. Like, still within the realm of what I'm close to right now. We could also do Canada. I don't know, something. Calgary wouldn't be hard from Oregon or California. So it depends where, and it depends when. When you're booking with points, everything is always cheaper planned ahead. So like, if I was able to accrue the points by next spring, we could theoretically set up to meet the following spring. So like 2024. If everyone is not committed to this plan, it's totally fine if we don't do it. Because then I can use the points on something else. So it's not like me earning points with this goal is going to cause any hardship for me. Like, if we do it, that would be a bucket list item for me, and if we don't do it, then I have amassed points and I can go on an international trip somewhere. So I don't know how other people would feel about like committing to a trip in 2024. Like, that's a really long time in this hypothetical, and also no one has any pressure to do anything, so it's just an idea. But I have learned the credit card points game, and I'm a little bit obsessed, and this seems like a valid goal. Oh, you talked about reading less. I have eras like that too, and when I've been really, really tired lately, reading and watching TV are some of the things that immediately went out the window because I didn't have energy for them. And it's like, you don't think of reading and watching TV as high energy activities, but when I'm tired, it's like there's too much brain thinking that has to happen. So considering that I think a lot of your migraine time functions similarly, and possibly other times when there are health issues, it makes perfect sense to me that you wouldn't. And even when I don't have like this weird health thing I've got going on, sometimes I just have eras of reading every single night. Like I'll have a 30-day, 40-day streak, and then I'll have other eras where I do not open the Kindle app in the span of a month. And like I'm theoretically in the middle of 3 books right now, but I haven't touched any of them in 2 weeks. So I'm just lacking energy. It's not the books are bad. You said you are a massive rereader and you comfort reread, and I have never related to anything more in my life. When I am stressed, when I am sad or depressed, when I have anxiety, I will reread like the same 10 books in a loop. On like 7 of them are by the same author, and they're all unrelated. I just like her standalone books. But they are like the lowest stress reread I could imagine. And I have some sections of those books memorized. Like sometimes they'll appear in my head when I'm not reading them, and I'll like think the words because they are that imprinted in my head. So Hard Same. Oh my God. Most of my reading time is probably rereading. Like I'm not exaggerating when I say like most. I reread a lot. Anyway, it's Sunday morning, and originally we had talked about doing a video call this week. Sorry I didn't follow up planning times. In my head it was Sunday morning, and in my head that was enough, and then I realized this morning, like, that's not how it works with doing something together as a group, so, oh well. Hopefully sometime soon, possibly 2 Sundays from now, that would be great for me. Yeah. I feel like I should say something about my life, but like this guy, that's my whole life. I did something this week. Oh, I went to a baseball game. I had a really good Monday and Tuesday. I had like a reasonable amount of energy, so I was like, you know what? One of my favorite players is playing in Oakland this weekend. He normally plays in LA. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Oakland. I'm gonna drive down for that game. It's only like an hour. It's not that bad. And I had a great time at the game. It was a perfect night. I listened to an amazing podcast on the way home. I listened to an amazing other baseball game on the way there. Like, it was a literally perfect night. And then the following 2 days, I was so tired I slept on the floor at work. So that was exhausting. And I'm a little bit nervous because I have a trip planned for the next weekend. Just a little one to Phoenix. And I'm like, is that going to happen following 2 days in Phoenix? But I'm going to be hopeful and choose to be positive about it because this has been a bucket list item for a really long time. I'll get a new stadium, and I don't want to screw that up. Like, there are a whole bunch of stadiums I haven't made it to yet. I realize this is going on, like, this tangent is really long. But, like, I have not been to a San Francisco baseball game. I live in the Bay Area. I have not been to a Rockies baseball game. And that is going to be so much easier to be done from SFO than from EWR or anywhere else I move later. Newark. So like, I really need to go to a Colorado baseball game and a San Francisco baseball game while I'm here. Hasn't changed yet. Also, as we've established, I don't know when I'm leaving. It could be a really long time. But I still should get to a San Francisco baseball game because it would be really pathetic if I don't make it to one. There was something else I was going to say about something that happened this week. I went to a thrift store yesterday that I hadn't been to before that's walking distance from my house. So that was fun. It was actually kind of crowded, which was crazy to me because I've never been to a store in this town that's crowded. Like, not really. Other than, like, restaurants. So it was like, oh, there are other human beings here. I didn't talk to anybody or interrupt anybody's day, but... Oh, speaking of other people I didn't talk to or interrupt, I was in the grocery store yesterday, and there was a girl with a Mets hat on. I think that is the first time I've seen a Mets hat in this town. Like, I saw a Mets hat... I saw a million Mets hats. Not a million. You know what I mean. Exaggeration. When I was in LA to watch the Mets, and all of the Mets fans had traveled to LA. But here, I don't think I've ever seen a Mets hat before. And I saw her in the grocery store twice. I walked by her, and I was wearing this shirt. Whoops. And I was like, I wanted to make eye contact with her and be like, let's go Mets. But she didn't make eye contact with me. She looked like she was probably like 19 or 20 and like moody teenager vibes. So I was like, I'm not interrupting her. I am not approaching a teenager. That's not my vibe. Though there was a part of me that was like, do you have a mom who's a baseball fan? Because I feel like I should be friends with her. But I didn't. Obviously, I didn't interrupt her. So, yay, I have a really interesting video about going to a grocery store. Okay. DFTBA, and I'll see you next week, and hopefully video chat soon.